This press conference held today, Monday, November 15th, 2021, in Makurdi, Benue State. Gentlemen of the press, we stakeholders from Benue State made up of social-cultural organizations and the chairmen of all the frontline local governments affected by Fulani attacks have chosen to address you today on the security situation in the state, particularly the sustained attacks on our people by Fulani Herdsmen. We wish to first and foremost commend the Operation Wild Stroke and other security agencies for their untiring efforts in providing relative peace in the state. Though we are not yet out of the woods, we must appreciate the commitment of officers and men of the Nigerian Armed Forces, the police, Department of State Services, Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, as well as all other law enforcement agencies operating in the state. The spate of insecurity would have escalated if not for their dogged intervention whenever they are called upon. We equally commend our dear Governor, His Excellency Dr. Samuel Otom, for the sustained support he has given to the security agencies to succeed. The Governor has provided the needed leadership in tackling the problem of insecurity in all parts of the state, and he deserves to be appreciated. As leaders who reside among the people, we understand the challenges the Otom administration has faced over the past 6 years in combating insecurity. We are deeply saddened over the incessant and senseless killing of Benue people by armed herdsmen. In the last 7 years, attacks by armed Fulani herders have led to the loss of hundreds of lives and destruction of property worth billions of naira in Benue State. The herders come under the guise of cattle grazing and turn our farms into killing fields. 21 out of the 23 local government areas in Benue State have suffered one form of herders attack or the other. You recall that on January 11, 2018, the Benue State government conducted a mass burial of 73 indigents of Benue State, murdered in simultaneous and coordinated attacks on Guma and Logo local government areas in the state. That invasion followed earlier attacks in Agatu, Kwande, Makurdi, Gwe West, among others. The killing of 2 Catholic priests and 17 worshippers by Fulani herdsmen in Balom, Gwe East local government area is still fresh in our minds. Between that time and now, armed herdsmen have killed hundreds of innocent people in Benue State. The killers no longer come with cows. They come with AK-47 rifles. It is on record that open grazing has led to the invasion of farming communities by Fulani herdsmen, leading to massive killings and maiming of people, including children, raping of women, destruction of property, loss of livelihoods, and displacement of persons. On the 20th of March 2021, there was an assassination attempt on our governor, Governor Samuel Otom, by Fulani militia on his way back from the farm. It took the grace of God for him to survive that attack. The negative impact of open grazing, which often results in attacks on communities in different parts of Benue State, has adversely affected the local economy as farmers are prevented from accessing their farms, and local markets are also deserted for fear of imminent invasion by the killers. The continued rise in the attacks by Fulani herdsmen have also led to mass displacement of persons, leading to desertion of farmlands. Over 1.5 million people have been displaced in Benue State. Some of the displaced persons are currently living in internally displaced persons camps, and others are living in host communities or with their relatives in the towns. Go back and till their land are either killed or maimed by herdsmen. This sad development is leading to food insecurity and poverty in the state. Some of the area Some of the area's herdsmen have attacked, killed, and displaced many people in Benue State include, but not limited to, the following. The entire Nzorov in Guma, this is Guma local government, the entire Nzorov ward, Saeb ward, Kambe ward, Abinsi ward, Uvi ward, Mbadwem ward, Mbabai ward, Mbagwen ward, Niev ward, and Mbawa ward all have been sacked. In Makudi local government, Tsetaki and Tatio community, as well as Ante in Mbala ward, Mbaye, Mbane, Tsenyikwa, Tsekwenyi, all in Agan ward, Tsetyohmba, Tsemundo, near River Benue, as well as Adai near Makudi Modern Market, have all been sacked. In Logo local government, Mbazar community and Bayuen community in Tombo ward, Tsebiem in Ukemberegya, as well as Mawa community in Babe ward. In Agatu local government, Obagaji, Okokolo, Enuba, Usha, Odugbeho, and Egba have all been sacked. Katsinala local government, Chirakera, Imbufu, Agbede, Gawayona, Ashuku, Utenge, all in Yoyo ward. Tongov, Vingi, Gawa, Mbayongo ward. Kemvange, Atumbe, and Ikya, all in Batura, Mbere ward. Parts of Utange ward and parts of Mbache wards. That's in Katinala local government. In Konde local government, Mon ward, Mbadura ward, Kumakwa, and Anyase in Bakyo ward have been sacked by the Marudin Fulani Herdsmen. In Gwe West local government, Tseabichi, Baji, Uga, Akpiti, New Nigeria community, Onumbagbo, Akor, Bo, Tete, Bakyondo, Anguha, Tseabwa, Uga, and Zwatema communities have been sacked. In Ado local government, Ndigwe, Ataloga, Odokem, Ekile, Nduobasi, Epufu, and Obakota communities have been sacked by Fulani herdsmen. The latest of the callous and inhuman atrocities came on the morning of 13th November 2021, very recently, when some gunmen invaded the community in Bayatio, Mbate Council Ward in Logo local government, killing scores of mourners at a wake of one of their departed relatives. What could be worse than killing of bereaved people mourning the death of a loved one? While we condemn the act in strong terms, we call on the security formations who have been making efforts to curtail the heightened insecurity in the Sankara axis and other parts of Benue State to arrest perpetrators of the heinous crime and bring them to justice. Fulani herdsmen claim that their cattle are often rustled by our people. There is no evidence whatsoever to back their claim. Our findings reveal that those who rustle cattle are among the Fulani herders themselves. They are the ones who know the language of the cattle, and their cattle understand and listen to them. Herdsmen steal each other's cows for sale and turn around to blame our people. Fulani pastoralists have also accused members of the Benue State livestock guards of extortion and theft of their cows. Again, that claim has no evidence to sustain that narrative. Benue State has a ranching law in place which the Fulani herdsmen have refused to obey and continue to encroach into Benue lands for open grazing. The livestock guards only impound cattle openly grazing within the state. The process of impounding the cattle is usually a violent confrontation. Whereas the livestock guards do not carry any form of arms, the Fulani herdsmen carry AK-47 and usually open fire whenever they see the livestock guards. The sound of the gun makes the cattle scamper, leading the guards impounding only a few ones they can get hold of. Some of the dispersed cattle usually find their way back to their homestead while others are recovered and sold by the herders who are usually not the real owners of these animals. The herders turn around to cover up their theft and sale of some of the cows by alleging that the entire cattle were impounded by the livestock guards, on the allegation that livestock guards charge exorbitant amounts as penalty for each cow arrested per day. This is another false narrative. The Benue State Livestock Guard has been trained to operate within the ambit of the provisions of the law which established that agency. The fine for each cow impounded per day is 2,000 naira only. We rather believe that Fulani herdsmen have continued to violate the law because the penalty appears to be inadequate to deter them. The Benue State Open Grazing Prohibition and Ranches Establishment Law will soon be reviewed and tougher penalties provided for as a deterrent to offenders. Another false narrative being peddled by Fulani herders is that the livestock guards often go beyond the Benue State boundary to impound their cows and also effect the arrest of their members. Nothing can be further from the truth. The false claim by the herders is a ploy to justify their attacks on members of the livestock guards. In the last 1 year, Fulani herdsmen have increased their violent assault on members of the livestock guards in a bid to discourage them from carrying out their legitimate duty. We are aware of the propaganda mission Fulani herdsmen have embarked upon in an attempt to twist the narrative to suit their evil agenda. They now visit security agencies and lay false claims about boundary issues between Benue and neighboring states. We don't have boundary crisis with Nasarawa, Taraba, or any other state. The few cases where there are disagreements over lands are being discussed and amicably handled by our governor and his counterparts in Taraba and Nasarawa state. The rate figures of claimed attacks on their cattle. The recent claim that 1,500 of their cows were killed in Benue State is a hoax. There is no evidence in any part of the state to suggest that such a number of cows were killed or any cow whatsoever was killed. This allegation is another propaganda by the herdsmen to accuse livestock guards and later attack them. Benue State has a law against open grazing of animals. Anyone who violates the law therefore has no right to question why his cattle were impounded. We also have reliable information that Fulani herdsmen always resist arrest whenever they are caught violating the law on open grazing. They shoot at those attempting to arrest them. The herdsmen have adopted guerrilla tactics of coming at night to slaughter our people and escape without being challenged. Attempts to repel them in response to distress calls from communities under attacks result in the death of some law enforcement agents. They chase away our people and occupy their lands. They don't even allow the people to bury their murdered loved ones. They now attack internally displaced persons' camps where our people seek refuge. Earlier this year, they attacked and killed 7 people at the Abagana IDP camp in Makudi. Another disturbing trend, gentlemen of the press, is the recent introduced by the armed herdsmen, is to go to the crossing points at the River Benue and other waterways within the state and force the boatmen to ferry them to their targeted areas. Any resistance from boatmen is met with instant death. It must be emphasized that since the Benue State Open Grazing Prohibition and Ranches Establishment Law was enacted in 2017, no Fulani pastoralist has indicated interest in establishing a ranch in the state. They have repeatedly and vehemently vowed never to obey the law. We reiterate the call on the Benue State government that every law-abiding citizen of Nigeria is at liberty to apply for land for ranching. We are aware that the security agencies are doing their best to ensure that parts of Benue State are secured. It is, however, disturbing that the invaders are growing in confidence and have become daring, to the extent that they have a field day anytime they embark on a mission to slaughter our people, and motivate security operatives to safeguard the people. But we hope to see greater action by the government at the center. Those who sponsor the attackers, such as Mieti Allah, are living in Abuja in comfort and under tight security. The government and people of Benue State have made several calls for the arrest of such individuals for interrogation to no avail. We therefore request the deployment of special forces to entry points into Benue State that are usually used by these merchants of death who are bent on eliminating our people and taking over their ancestral lands with their genocidal attacks. Some of these points are Awe, Kiana, and Doma local governments of Nasarawa State, which serve as their safe haven. The killers also come in through Bakyo, Tuluv, from Jonwata on the Cameroon border, Moon and Yav, Kashimbila, and Takum in Taraba State through Utenge Shitile in Katanala, Benue State. Others are Tungwa and Anyibe in Logo, Nyiji to Tseaho along River Benue in Makudi, among others. We believe that deployment of troops to the affected areas will guarantee safety and enable our people to return to their ancestral homes. We call on security operatives to go after the armed herdsmen who carried out the dastardly act and Mayatyo and arrest them to face justice. Such heartless murderers should be apprehended and prosecuted, not only to serve as a deterrent to others, but to also make the killers pay for destroying lives of innocent people. We, on our part, are committed and ready to do all within our powers to collaborate and support the security agencies to fish out the perpetrators of heinous crimes in our areas and prevent reoccurrence. A situation where our people live in perpetual fear of the unknown is unacceptable to us. We wish to alert the security agencies and the federal government that with the approach of the dry season, seasonal movement of armed Fulani Herdsmen into Benue State in search of grazing lands and water points is a recipe for heightened attacks on our farmers who are harvesting their crops. This situation, in addition to the Fulani militia who have continued to wage guerrilla attacks throughout the rainy season, will lead to more killings and destruction of farmlands. We appeal to the Operation Wild Stroke to intensify surveillance, particularly at the crossing points into Benue State earlier listed, to avert the loss of more lives. Our earnest appeal goes to Operation Wild Stroke and other security agencies to help our people to return their ancestral lands, which are currently occupied by armed Fulani herdsmen. The continued stay of thousands of farmers in IDP camps is causing hunger and poverty in the land, while the future of the children in the camps remains bleak, as their schools have been destroyed by the herdsmen. As we earlier said, we look forward to witnessing urgent steps taken by the federal government to ensure sustainable peace in Benue State. The reign of terror should not remain a permanent feature in our land. We once again appreciate you for receiving us on this visit. You can count on our support. And this press statement is signed by the President, Nzo Tiv, the President of the Igede Sogo Local Government, the Chairman Katsiment, Chairman Gwe East Local Government, Chairman Ado Local Government, the Chairman Buruku Local Government, and Chairman Ohimini Local Government. Thank you.
No questions. No questions.
It's clear enough, right? I have my own green pen.
No, Chairman. As a chief, it's always a pleasure to see you.
Thanks for checking out SYMFONI on YouTube. Please be sure to subscribe and like our videos for updates.